graphic novels built around a character named Scott Pilgrim. In the novels, which were published between 2006 and 2010, Scott Pilgrim is a musician and video game enthusiast who falls for an Amazon delivery girl named Ramona Flowers. Ramona is cool and mysterious and seems receptive to Scott's advances. There's just one little problem. Ramona informs Scott that she has 7 ex-boyfriends, otherwise known as the League of Evil Exes, that Scott will have to defeat to win her love. Oh yes, and like Ramona, those evil exes have superpowers. Producer Mark Platt acquired the movie rights to Scott Pilgrim shortly after the first volume in the series was published. British filmmaker Edgar Wright, best known at the time for directing and co-writing Shaun of the Dead, was attached early on to direct. Edgar Wright liked the way the Scott Pilgrim novels synthesized comedy, action, and music. And Wright was drawn to the character of Scott Pilgrim, describing him as being the hero of the movie inside his own head. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World was shot in Toronto, where the story is set. Toronto is a frequent filming location and often doubles for New York and other cities. For Scott Pilgrim, however, the filmmakers embraced Toronto's unique identity, using actual locations which Brian Lee O'Malley had depicted in his illustrations. Pizza Pizza is a chain of Canadian restaurants headquartered in Toronto, and Lee's Palace was an iconic music venue in the city. Michael Cera was cast as Scott Pilgrim. Wright admired the actor's gift for comedic timing, but he also chose him for another reason. Scott Pilgrim's confrontations with the 7 evil exes requires some serious martial arts expertise. Wright believed that because Michael Cera was not an obvious action star, the physicality he would demonstrate in those fight scenes would be both surprising and funnier. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World opened in theaters in August of 2010, with a video game adaptation released the same month. Despite the popularity of the graphic novels, the box office results for the film were disappointing. However, Scott Pilgrim's stature has grown over time, with the film garnering praise for effectively combining video game and comic book imagery with live action. In 2023, an anime series, Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, premiered on Netflix, with most of the cast from the film returning to voice their characters. The success of that series, along with the cult status which the movie continues to enjoy, speaks to the enduring popularity of all things Scott Pilgrim. Remember, Flashback Cinema is a regular feature at this theater. We screen a different classic movie each week. To make suggestions for upcoming films, go to flashbackcinema.net. Be sure to join us next week for Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Matthew Broderick stars as a charismatic teenager who raises having a good time to an art form in this classic 80s comedy written and directed by John Hughes. And the following week we present Raiders of the Lost Ark. Celebrate Father's Day by treating the whole family to the big screen experience of the movie that first introduced audiences to Indiana Jones. Now, with an amazing young cast that includes Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Kieran Culkin, Anna Kendrick, Brie Larson, Brendan Routh, and Chris Evans, and that's not even the whole list. Here's Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Not so long ago, in the mysterious land of Toronto, Canada, Scott Pilgrim was dating a high schooler.
Scott Pilgrim is dating a high schooler?
Really? Is she hot?
How old are you now, Scott? Like 28?
I'm not playing your little games, kids.
So you've been out of high school for like 13 years.
I'm 22. 22. You're dating a high school girl.
That was the fastest credits I've ever seen. Oh, yeah.